Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the third episode of the Henshin Diaries, as Jess has called it. This morning, I'm joined by Eamon. Many of you obviously the Kingaroy guys know Eamon well. Most of you on the coast will know Eamon from his time here. He's the DP in our business out in Kingaroy with the Toyota business, as well as the Kia, Isuzu, and Mahindra, Ken Mills Auto dealership. Welcome, mate.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Most importantly, did it rain in Kingaroy last night?
Rained plenty, yes.
Did it? Did here too. Well, that's good. Good. So, mate, we're going to talk about optimization today, but I just want to quickly remind everyone about Project Henshin and what we're doing there, and that we're trying to create good situations for all the stakeholders, the most important stakeholders, for the business, being the staff, being the ownership and the customer groups. So that is actually what we're about. And one of the projects that we've got is optimization. So I'm going to sort of ask you some questions, Eamon, and I would like to hear your interpretation, mate, of what you believe this project is about. So I guess optimization is a big word. We're trying not to have too much jargon in our business. We've got another word called jargon monoxide. We're trying to get rid of it. What does optimization mean to you?
Okay, so in simple terms, the optimization project, or the group optimization project, is aiming to help the Mills Motor Group as a whole achieve its strategic goals. And we're doing this by building centralized functions in the business, which enable us to have practical, efficient and seamless processes between our sites, that being Kingaroy, Nambour and Maroochydore. So the traditional structure of our business, that being Kingaroy, was operating separately to the Sunshine Coast businesses. It meant roles were often duplicated, and there were definitely operational inefficiencies in some areas of the business, often two people doing the same thing in two different places. So there were knowledge gaps around the business. There were people juggling multiple roles, and often gaps when staff would move around the business or leave the business. So naturally that makes employees' jobs harder and makes our business less competitive when you sort of look over the fence to our competitors as well.
So that all makes sense, but at the end of the day, things are kind of going along okay. So like, why is it actually important that we do this?
So the scale of our group now, that being Kingaroy coming into business structure, means that we're able to get resources that we may not have been able to justify in our previous or traditional structure. So we want to create situations where we're able to share knowledge, compare our branches and establish best practice between ourselves. And it's not about competition between the sites, but more so giving each branch autonomy to be entrepreneurial and creative in their operation. Yeah.
And probably, mate, one of the things to add to that is, we understand our position as a niche family business in an industry which is being sort of slowly consumed by larger corporates. Yeah. So I think, there's a competitive situation there for us as well.
Definitely. So we're actually seeing, as it slowly consolidates, we're seeing the industry get dominated by larger corporations, and often with refined skills and processes as well. So as a pool group resource, we're able to in-house some of that heightened or specialised skill that we wouldn't be able to otherwise.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
And so have we seen any examples of optimization around the group so far?
We have. We've seen plenty, and I've been banging on it about it a lot in Kingaroy. So naturally, coming into this business, the administration areas and the technology between our businesses were the lowest hanging fruit. So central functions have been created to operate in areas such as stock control, financial controlling, payroll and OH&S to this point. It's triggered us to roll out a number of different systems that have allowed us to communicate and operate a bit more efficiently across our sites. So some examples of that are a new payroll system and timesheet management software that's standard across all of our businesses. PDC rollout that's allowed us to manage the flow of our inventory in Kingaroy, and a cloud-based registration system that allows us to be able to register vehicles anywhere.
Yeah, cool. And of course, out in Kingers as well, you guys have picked up the on-time delivery project, which is, I guess, a bit of an example of knowledge sharing across the group. That we started that in Maroochydore, but you guys have picked that up in Kingaroy and smashing it, by the way, doing a great job. So,
yeah,
and this is where I see this can head, is that, we haven't rolled this out yet in Nambour, but you guys have really picked this up and run with it, and I think, probably developed some great practices out there. So this is, I guess, how this multi-branch kind of concept works. It's not a one size fits all, but it's, let's try and aim up at the same things. And when we do that, you guys will be innovative and come up with some solutions that hasn't been thought of over here. And then we just keep sharing all that information as we go around. So great job on that project particularly.
Yeah, and what I will highlight with that is that we dug into that project not really knowing what to expect, but we actually had different problems that we had to solve to what you were experiencing in Maroochydore. So we're aiming up at the same thing. We found our operation was slightly different, and we had to fix different problems to get that result better. So
yeah, cool. And so, mate, what's coming then in terms of optimization in the next little while?
So the main differences you'll see in this area in the coming months will be in the Kingaroy business. We're going to a new phone system tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this video, early March. And that will again be the standardized phone system that is already in operation for a couple of months now on the Sunshine Coast. It allows us to reroute phone calls between sites where we require, and also gives us a lot more functionality, which allows us to improve our customer experience on the phones. And although you may not see a physical difference, we've also started a heap of activity in the digital marketing space to improve our SEO, SEM, and to give a consistent message across our social and digital platforms.
So that's sort of leveraging that slightly higher end knowledge, isn't it?
Bloody oath, yes. So everybody in Kingaroy's met Lauren now. She's come out last week and been around, but yeah, highly specialised in that area, and she's doing a cracking job.
Cool. Well, I think probably the only last thing that I'd like to add is that whilst we're talking about some of these changes that are hitting the ground in Kingaroy, like those things that we're doing do trigger changes for us back here as well, and we're building out a team who kind of generally reside in Nambour, who can help us make sure that these things we've centralised work well. It means that we take a bit of risk out. So, where we had, maybe one person in Kingaroy that was doing something really important, like paying the bills, paying the staff, we now have like a small team that does that for the whole business. So if we have illnesses or absenteeism or whatever, we can still make sure people still get paid, things still go along. So certainly changes happening over here as well. Mate, unless there's anything else that you wanted to add, I hope everyone's got a little bit of information from this session. Did you want to say anything else, mate, at all?
I think that covers it at a fairly high level. So yeah, I hope it's given some insight to everybody.
Awesome. Very good. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.